Howdy, this is Selena Lindahl, and this is How to Attack This Class and Develop Self-Regulated Learning Skills, which is a question I hope you're asking. So if you're hoping to get from beginner to mastery level for this class, here are some tips. First, it might be useful to think about what are the stair steps to mastery. At the bottom, we've got basic terms, numeracy skills like how to do math and graphs. We call those tools. Then models and theories, we call those techniques. You can't do those without stepping on the first step. And then finally, applications and maybe critique, working the problem. We won't do too much critique of economic theory in this class, but if you keep going, you can. And it's basically about solving problems, identifying big problems like why are we having a recession or why is unemployment rate rising? One thing that's confusing about active learning or online learning or any sort of modern learning where you're not just going straight through the textbook with long lectures to back it up is how to keep everything in order. It's super important always to keep the question and context in front of you. In this case, the big question might be, why is unemployment rising? And some smaller questions are, how long will it last? Some even smaller questions might be, how is the unemployment rate calculated? What are the categories of unemployment? What about discouraged workers, people that have given up looking for work? And a lot of the technical stuff is in the small questions, calculations, graphs, etc. So if you're not careful, you can lose the forest for the trees and stay locked into technical learning, but the true learning is applying the techniques to the bigger problem. So you might be wondering what pieces of our material to fit where. We've got learning curve, adaptive quizzes, we've got the textbook, we've got application exercises, we've got homework, we've got videos. Where do they all fit in this learning path? Glad you asked. So, learning curve adaptive quizzes are basically, I'd put these in the tools. Same with the text. You're getting familiar with the basic content, getting yourself on the first step. But the text also introduces you to theory, so it kind of lives maybe in the middle here. Any video about tools or techniques, that's going to be your basic skills and techniques. So somewhere between those two steps. Maybe we'll put it up there so we can read it better. And then the homework is designed to get you beginning to apply, but also working with the tools and techniques. So it's really important to have a lot of assessment. Assessment in economics is super important. It's a very effective learning tool. It exercises the brain in ways that listening to lecture and taking in material otherwise just doesn't do. And then application exercises, this is where we look at current events or podcasts or somehow apply the models to a real world event. That gets us into the top level here. And let's zoom out, see if we can see it all in its glory. How to succeed in class. And not just this class, but any class. The idea is self-regulated learning. Basically, planning a learning path, and then going back and checking in, seeing if that learning path is working for you. Adjusting when necessary. Assessment is a really good way to figure out if you're learning the material or not. But remember, you always want to check in with the big problems, right? Don't get lost in the weeds. Come back out, see the forest, motivate with those big problems, because those are the interesting stuff anyway. The interesting stuff is not how to calculate the unemployment rate. It's how long is this recession going to last? See you in class.